Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Kerbal Space Endeavour. We had a mystery last episode where we wanted to know what these donuts were about, and as you can see, they are the connectors for the MKS modules. And thanks to Kerbal attachment systems, we can pick them up and slap them onto things where we need them. Because in the previous episode, I forgot to attach one of these to the science place. And let's jump a little bit ahead. We do, of course, get things connected, as always. I mean, there's only as much as I can show of this and keep you guys interesting. But once we connected this, we completed the contract of having a habitable base on Minmus for 10 people. So yeah, we got lots of money. And this is the next module we're connecting. This is the biolab, which was also delivered recently. And yeah, so pretty much there's only two new models missing, which are both mining modules, but we'll get them in this episode as well. But yeah, more to come later from the base. When we looked at the asteroids, we came to realize that there's two asteroids coming up, and interestingly, one of them captured itself in a polar orbit. It is a Class A asteroid, but hey, at least no work was involved, and we have another asteroid. There is a second asteroid right here, which is a Class B, or is it B? I think it's B. And this one will crash into the planet Kerbal. I don't think I will have the ability to capture it or save it, but we'll see. Maybe. It's still a little bit of time until it's here, but we have more important things to do than moving giant space rock around. So yeah, let's just continue. I just wanted to show you this. So we jump back to our space truck, which is already heading back towards Kerbal from the delivery. And while we're moving back, we get a information that our mission to Moho is coming up on a maneuver node. However, the Moho is still so far away that I had a bit of a trouble to set up a proper maneuver. As I said before, I want to come over the North Pole, or I want to get into a polar orbit. So we skip it for later and set ourselves a new alarm clock for when we get closer. Meanwhile, the space truck got back to Kerbal, where already the next module is waiting in an orbit, and that is the carbonate mine, the carbonite distillery. So we will be able to process carbonite into all different kinds of fuel. Now this stage is a refueling part and the next part for the base in one thing. Easy enough because it was light enough. And more importantly, we finally fuel up the life support on the space truck because we were actually running low and our good Desbo Kerman was getting rather tired of the same rations over and over again. But yes, we head on back to Minmus. But on our way to Minmus, we get another alarm clock coming up telling us that now is the time to set our Moho satellite probe onto the right trajectory. So with a little bit of fiddling around and with fine precise node, which makes this actually a lot easier, we do set up a maneuver where we're almost crashing into the planet. We actually do want to crash into the planet because we want our drive stage, which we are going to ditch in a minute, to not float around in space. We want it to be gone, so with a little bit of adjustment, we will get it to crash into the planet. However, on our way, we're close and in the SO of Minmus, and we get to do a broad spectrum analysis. The thermal images reflect Moho's close proximity to the sun, with intense IR readings on the day side of the planet. Seems reasonable. And the telescope tells us there appears to be lots of dust and, rocks? The radio plasma wave says with no atmosphere and little magnetic field to interact with, the solar plasma slips around Moho. Well, all of this data is being sent home, which is quite bountiful. And we can go into the detachment, and now we're going to be running exclusively on ion engines fueled by xenon gas. So very little thrust, but it is more than enough to get us where we need to be. However, it does take an eternity with these kind of engines. So let's jump ahead where we actually do make it finally into the orbit that we need. So with a little bit more of an adjusting and waiting and time accelerating, we get into a 250 kilometer orbit around Moho. And from now on, this satellite will not only be a SATCOM, but it will also start uncovering Moho's secrets for us. So, back to the space truck. We skipped the whole delivery part as always. We have now a mining capability added to our base, and yeah. Let's just yeah, we have Lembus Kerming getting out, and he's gonna get, or he's not gonna get, he kind of smacks into the ground violently, but he survives. We get into the mechanical crab, and now we're gonna go and pick this module up. However, it is a fairly high module, so therefore we will need to be tweaking our mechanical crab a little bit for this to connect. Probably what I should have put on is, like, I should have put 2 pistons at the bottom part of the crab so I could actually get higher, but I never thought that and once again we start tumbling around, that one of these modules will become that high, and oh yeah, I forgot to hit the brakes. Dang it! Okay, let's get back in, and always when parking, leave the handbrake on, otherwise things start rolling down the hill, even with 0.06 g of gravity. So, the only way to pick this up, we'll have to put down the legs, or actually raise the legs for that matter. And now we're just gonna go pick this up and add it to our base. However, because we're in the night side of the planet, we were starting to run out of electricity. So we were a little bit of a hurry to get this docked before we run out of power. But then I decided, let's just wait for the day to arrive, because then we can actually drive and not just, like, stay where we are. Now, Space Truck, as always, heads on back home to pick up the next piece of equipment, which will be a storage unit for repair parts, repair kits, and some fuel to save, just for, yeah, for the base to work continuously for quite some time. But I actually did find that with the gravity of the moon, we got a very, very good encounter, which saves us probably a lot of fuel. And once we switch back to the base, we got the information that Lembus Kerman died of toxicity. What happened? What was wrong? Well, when I time accelerated, I thought he was going to have enough electric charge in his suit, but he did not, and I fear we lost our second Kerbal in this series, and it is Lembus Kerman, who is rotting away in his spacesuit right now. So we get Herod Kerman out and attach one of these another docking nodes, and then I thought, well, I think we're gonna have to pick up Lembus right here, and we will have to start building a graveyard, because at least we have to honor our dead, shouldn't we? So we'll look at this nice little piece of rock, and let's put up a memorial for Lembus Kerman, the first Kerman to die on Minmus. So Lembus, a not so stupid Kerman who died of stupidity nevertheless. Yeah, nevertheless. That's how I spell nevertheless. Ooh. So yeah, accidents happen, and let's just say Lembus fell asleep and didn't notice he was actually running out of air. That seems like a good enough excuse. But we get back to space construction, and we'll try to attach this long thing to our base. And on the way there, I realized, wait, I can't put that there. There's the entrance to the module. I can't just stack that on there, so Kerbals couldn't get out anymore. So we'll have to turn the entire craft around to put it on the right side. I could have just like moved the docking rig, but I didn't come up with the idea until I was already done rearranging it this way. But we do get in, and we do have a connection. So we'll let this drop down, and we'll drive this out of the way. And yeah, Harriet Kerman gets back in. We unfold the legs and lock the pivots. And now let's get to test the rig. However, we are not capable of retrieving any carbonite yet, because this craft has no storage for carbonite yet. That will be coming up in this mission here. So yeah, we do have a new launch. This new launch brings the next module and the last module to Minmus, as you can see right here. It also has two mining radial miners attached. These will be able to mine for substrate and for water. This will be important later. I'm gonna try to make a full tutorial of the base, how I made it and why I made it the way I made it. I think I finally figured MKS out. I hope I did, and I will show you guys. So yeah, with a little bit of jumping ahead, the space truck refuels in the stage that we left behind from the previous mission, because there was still some liquid hydrogen on board. And yeah, why not use what we have? And then of course we go for our second cargo, and our second cargo is already being delivered. And as you can see, we'll just go in for a normal docking procedure. If you can call normal, where you kind of blast your target away with your engines. But yeah, things like that happen when you're a little bit over enthusiastic and it is a late night with a lot of viewers, and then you just frack things up. But yeah, we do get to fix this somehow. And then it's just a matter of transferring fuel around once more. And of course, we'll go into the couple mode and head on back to Minmus. Just business as usual. Back on Minmus, our thing arrives just safe and sound. But I do run into a little bit of a problem when constructing this, because it is a little bit too high and on the same time a little bit too wide. So we had to readjust our landing crab, mechanical crab, whatever, I just always blah blah. So we get it up, we get it in. As I said, this has patch kits and everything, and you see on the right side we have a whole lot of space for new materials. If we ever want to make this a complete self-sustaining base, we can now. We probably need some more modules for that, but for now, this base will be, at least when it comes to the needs of our Kerbals, it will be self-sufficient. We will be able to produce food, we will be able to produce water, we will be able to produce oxygen. But we'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, we're gonna get the legs out, and then we're going to activate the drills and the solar panels because we don't want to run out of power. And here comes the carbonite extractor, and I must say I really like the animation on carbonite. It's a really good job they did on this, and now we're already harvesting carbonite. Okay, next thing is we can turn on the distillery and we get liquid fuel and oxidizer. So yes, we are producing fuel on Minmus from now on. Downside is I cannot produce liquid hydrogen. This is not included in the carbonite mod. Maybe I can fix something up, but we'll see. So the radial mines are being deployed as well, and they're going to harvest substrate, and they're going to harvest water, because additional water is important for our process. But let's get to the tutorial. Okay, this is a borrowed picture of the original MKS modders, and I adjusted it a little bit. In the middle you see the Kerbitat, and on the right you see our Kerbals. So our Kerbals need food, oxygen, and water. And they produce waste, CO2, carbon dioxide, and wastewater. So waste can go pretty much into the composter, which is part of the carbonite, and then produces combust. Then CO2 also goes to the greenhouse, and wastewater goes to the purifier part of the greenhouse as well. Now, the purifier will purify the wastewater into water, so we get normal water again. And the greenhouse will produce oxygen, and it will produce biomass. And biomass can therefore be turned from the habitat again back into food. Now, all of the left side things are complete, so you would only need Kerbals, the Kerbitat, and a greenhouse to have, when it comes to life support, a self-sufficient base. However, it is not 100%, so I added a mine, you see in the orange color, and the mine gives us additional water and substrate. And with the addition of the biolab takes in water and substrate, and then uses it to produce wastewater, but it also produces biomass. And with biomass, we complete the circle again to create food. So technically, this base should be self-sufficient when it comes to life support. If this really is the case, I will find out in future episodes when this base has been operating for a longer time. So now we'll just get to it and turn all of our modules on. And yep, all of this needs to be running. Yep. So Kerbal is running, aeroponics bay is running. Yeah, these legs here are kind of floating, but it doesn't really matter. And now we turn on the biolab. And of course, we shouldn't forget that we also need to turn on our command center, because some of these modules run automated, and automated modules run only out of punch cards, and punch cards are being produced in the command center right there. Now also we turn on the power distribution unit, so we do not run out of power. Keep in mind, the electric efficiency is not 100% yet, but we'll get there. Maybe a little bit of a readjustment and another base building will get there. Now, MKS takes into account that if you have Kerbals in your modules, they are working the modules, and the less stupid they are, the more efficient your module will be. So keep that in mind when building a base. But other than that, try it out yourself. It is a really awesome mod. It gives you good abilities to do cool things. It takes a while to really get it to work the way you want it to work, but other than that, it is a really good mod. Yeah, the base is up and running. It is operational, so therefore we can all reproduce fuel and get to places we want to be. So next missions will be uncovering Minmus secrets. However, we're gonna stop the episode right here. My name's Antilles, and until next time.